Ophelia grew up on the outskirts of Denmark. She had a normal peasant life with her mother, Delilah, father, Polonius, and brother, Laertes. At age 10, her mother passed away after falling ill with the Black Plague. Soon after, her father was promoted to a position in the castle.
Right after her mother died, Ophelia changed. She became distant from me and her brother.
Ophelia began to roll with a tough crowd. She became the leader of the D-Town Fair Maidens and ended up as a familiar face in the town's fair stocks.
Ophelia, she was going through a tough time, but then she met Hamlet. She all of a sudden came back to life.
Young Hamlet and Ophelia began courting on January 1st, 1600. However, their romance was short-lived, her father being the groom of the cause.
Yes, it is true. I forbid them to see each other. I didn't think Hamlet really wanted to be with her. I was only protecting her. That's what a father is supposed to do.
Soon after Hamlet and Ophelia's separation, Polonius was brutally murdered. The prime suspect in the case, no other than Hamlet himself.
Man, it wasn't even my fault. I was hitting my mom up and stuff about my uncle when I heard something from behind the curtain. I was like, maybe that's an intruder, so I stabbed the guy. I was only looking out for me and my mama's safety.
In my notes here, it says that after Hamlet killed Polonius, Ophelia practically went insane. I think it might have been because she loved her father so much. The poor thing got ordered around by her father all the time. I think it just showed how much she really loved him. It also showed how needy and dependent. Yep, Ophelia was on others. With her father dead and Hamlet wanting nothing to do with her, the poor thing was craving attention. And attention from nobody meant she had nothing. Ophelia, can you talk now? Ophelia, talk.
So, I'm so totally not crazy. I just like to sing. Ooh, 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 yeah. Plus, I just wanted some attention. Everybody was ignoring me, I had after my father died because they thought I killed him or something, which I didn't. I don't know why they did
Throughout
that.
the days after Polonius' death, the stress began to get to Ophelia. She had reached the peak of insanity. All events that had occurred in the span of Act 4 were getting to her, and most of all, Hamlet was getting to her.
I mean, Hamlet's a total babe and all, but he's so totally confusing. I mean, one day he was totally madly in love with me, and I'm totally hot. And then the next day he's not talking to me and stuff, and I was I'm so torn because my love for him is just so amazing. I just love him so much, but then my love turns into hate because he stabbed my dad, which is not cool.
Family and friends began to worry about Ophelia, their worries being well justified.
Ophelia started to frighten me. She would always sing about her dead father. They'd actually be quite catchy tunes.
I love you, Daddy. We're a happy family, but you're dead now.
You know, the ones that you get stuck in your head all the time? I hate those. Anyways, she would always walk around as if she was incapable of her own distress. Pathetic.
I saw Ophelia's insanity firsthand. She went down the same path Hamlet did when his father died. Youth these days can't seem to hold it together. Those idiots! I was upset, not crazy. They were trying to cover up my father's death. His burial was hasty and unofficial. I was bitter towards those royal hiney heads because of what they didn't do for my father.
Insane or not, Ophelia was getting worse. On the eve on her and Hamlet's courting anniversary, she was seen throughout Denmark with many different bachelors. The next day, she was found floating in the river behind the castle, stone cold dead. Ophelia's sudden and horrid death stunned the kingdom and struck her family and friends with grief.
Poor Ophelia. She had drowned. However, it was probably for the best. Not to be insensitive or anything, but she ruined mine and Claudius's plan to cover up Hamlet's deed and bury Polonius secretly.
Gertrude?
What? It's not like she's alive or anything. I mean, she's dead. What? What are you staring at? Is there something behind me?
When I heard the news that my sister had drowned, my heart was broken, and my anger towards Hamlet grew. He was the one to blame for my father's death, and now my sister. He's such a homewrecker. Towards the end, when I saw Ophelia walk around the castle, she didn't seem to be affected by anything. She was in her own little world. Her crazy actions affecting everyone she came in contact with.
nothing affecting her, and her death affecting all.
Ophelia's life may have ended at a young age, but her impact on Act 4 was nothing less than huge.
Ophelia confided in me a few days before she died. I am the therapist. Anyways, she told me that before she took her last breath, she was going to stop and smell the fragrance of regret. I figured she was talking about smelling something that she regretted eating the night before, so I left it alone. Of course, I was terribly wrong. I guess I'm not as good at this job as I thought I was.
Ophelia's real fragrance is far from being about potty talk. Rumors ran wild through the castle after she smelled her fragrance of regret along with another.
I so totally gave the king a chicken bone. And I told him it was like for regret or for rue, which represents regret, of course. You should have seen his face. It was like, gee, I have unresolved regret about killing my brother. And I was like, geez, he got a booger in his nose. Hilarious. Yeah, I heard what Ophelia did. She was whack. I mean, my dad got killed too, but you don't see me being all Mr. Crazy Pants. Well, not really. I was only acting. Compared to her, I'm like much more legit and like way mentally stronger. Women, you know what I mean?
Ophelia's death left many unanswered questions. Did she really go crazy? Was her death an accident or was it suicide? Did she do it all for attention? Did she go to the grave loving Hamlet even after he killed her father?
I don't have an answer for a lot of things my sister did. One thing I did worry about though, when my father died, is she being angry for me not being there to console her. Now I can see she was too crazy to even care.
Man, it wasn't me.
I took her out, it was a Friday night, I walk alone.